Here we go. Good morning. All right. I'm going to let everyone have a chance to jump into the room. I'm telling you what, we're going to have a great time together. We have a lot of material to cover today. Let me make sure I've got all my technology set up the way it should be. Uh, Let's see. Yep, I've got it the way I need it to be. And I'm telling you, I am so super excited for today because today I'm bringing you, I've been praying about this, and I'm bringing you material that is absolutely relevant. You need this right now. If you're in real estate, this is what you need to hear right now. Now, I realize we are only a week away from Christmas. So those of you that are brave enough to jump on here with me, God bless you. We're going to have a great time together. I see that the chat is already starting to light up. Let me throw it in the chat where you are tuning in from. Okay, we've already this room is going to get full. Okay, it is going to get full. We've had hundreds and hundreds of you register, and we only have that. We don't have that much space. But let's see what we got here. Gladys is in the house. We got Voorhees, New Jersey. We got see Savannah from Georgia. Is that right? Oh, that is too tricky. We got no Brenda from Georgia. We got Phoenix, Arizona, Jen. We got Savannah. That's Savannah is coming in from South Texas. We've got Karen Gilmore out of Lakeland, Florida. James Breedlove is coming in from Georgetown, Texas. That's right. I'm in Texas today as well, and I'm probably going to be here for another week or so before we head out. Right after the holidays. So we got Robert in San Antonio. We've got Jennifer says good morning from Texas. Jennifer Hiller. We've got Corpus Christi in the house with Penny. We've got Kathy from Austin. What's up, Kathy? All right, I see you. Derek, Lago Vista. We got Atlanta in the house as well. Marcia from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm telling you, we have them from everywhere. We've got Wendy from Connecticut. We got Lori from Madison. We've got David right here in Austin. What's up, David? Lucy out of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. We've got Sam out of Houston. We've got Pflugerville in the house. We've got uh, Lisa with Prince Frederick, and it says Meta Brown, but that may be right, but that's out of Pflugerville. I mean, it's going on, and I know people are still jumping on. Today, we're going to talk about. We got John May. What's up, John May? John May from back in the day. We got John May in the house. We've got from Austin. We got Sham from Dayton, Ohio. You know, Sham, my mom was born in Dayton, Ohio, and I lived in Dayton, Ohio. In fact, my mother and father were they met in Dayton. So it's a small world, I tell you, small world after all. We've got Jen from Michigan. I mean, it's going nuts. It's going nuts. And I know we got Paul. Hopefully, Paul is in the house with me here as well. He's my faith. He's like I'm Batman, he's Robin, right? So he's going to be moderating the chat, making sure that everything. Yeah, there it is, Paul from the Philippines. What's up, Paul? Paul is in the house. I was somebody had reached out to me earlier today, and they were like, "Hey, this guy has a lot of questions, and he's joining our organization." And I said, just reach out to Paul. He'll help you with all that. Paul's been with me for like 8 years. He knows as much as I do. So thank you, Paul, for being here. We got Philip from Goodyear, Arizona. We got Karen Gilmore. What's up, Karen? I see you. We got Sharon, Cobb County. We got Mandy. Is that the same Dayton, Ohio? Yeah, we already got Mandy. So let's jump into it because we got a lot of ground to cover. You can keep putting it in the chat where you're from, but the point is, you guys are from everywhere. And what I'm going to be sharing with you is the material that works. It doesn't matter if you're in Austin. It doesn't matter if you're in Vegas. It doesn't matter if you're in Dayton. It doesn't matter if you're in Cleveland. It doesn't matter if you're in Miami. It doesn't matter if you're in Manhattan, New York. You could be in LA. It doesn't matter. You could be in Wisconsin. You could be in Omaha. I mean, I've been all over the country. I've been in over 100 cities. Let me say it again. I've been in over 100 cities with this material, and it works everywhere. Okay. And what I'm going to be sharing with you is some very, very powerful stuff. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so we can get right into it. And by the way, yes, you read it right. This is a 2 hour boot camp. 2 hours. Yeah, that's right. We got 2 hours together. We're gonna have a lot of fun. When I do this seminar live in from city to city, it takes 3 hours. Okay, let me say it again. It takes 3 hours. And isn't it worth it to your career to just unwind, relax, and take some time to really work on your business instead of working in it? There's a big difference. When you think about working in your business, that's what we do every day. Okay. But what I want you to do right now is step back, take a few steps back, and let's work on your business. Because when you're working in your business, it's kind of like that labyrinth, that maze. You're going through this maze. You've ever seen those maze puzzles where you have to figure out how to get to the end of it and it just goes. Now imagine being in the middle of that. That's where most agents live. They live in the weeds. They live in the weeds. And what I'm doing, what I want to do is I want to take you about 500 feet up in the air, and now you can clearly see the patterns of how you should go. Should you go left? Should you go right? Well, now it's no longer a guessing game because you know what to do. And that's what this class is really all about. We're going to have a good time together. You're going to be able to ask questions. Okay. I'm going to be able to help you answer those. And we're going to spend 2 hours together. So don't worry about it. It's going to go by quick. Just imagine you're at a movie. Don't go get popcorn, but just imagine you're at a movie and we are going to we're going to go. Okay. Let me share my screen because I've got a lot of slides to cover with you as well. Before I do that, let me see if there's anything else in the chat. As I'm going along, feel free to, and I wish I would be able to have it where everybody's face is up here, but we had so many people that registered for the webinar that it just wasn't feasibly possible. Okay, so and I know it's a week before Christmas. All right, so I've already said that, but looks like the no popcorn, Uncle Nolly. All right, Karen, I see you. All right, appreciate that. But I do love popcorn. All right, so but since I can't have any because I'm talking, you can't have any either. Just kidding. All right, so let's go into my sharing here, and I'm going to show you. We're going to get right into the class. Let me make sure. Yep, you guys can see my screen. Everything's good. And hopefully everyone is you guys are ready for Christmas. You're ready for New Year's. You got everything. I mean, I'm ready. I'm ready, ready, ready as I'll ever be. This is really is my favorite time of the year. I know it is oversaid, overstated, but it feels like people just act differently during this time of year. Okay. It just feels that way. There's a different spirit in the air. One of my favorite movies that I watch every year for Christmas is It's a Wonderful Life. It's actually my favorite movie. I watch it every single year. And this year I've already watched it. So that means I got to watch it again. That's all that means. Okay. I love it. And I cry every time. Every single time I cry. All right, we don't need the timer because we've already gone through that. This is the Success with Listings seminar event. This is the same seminar, like I said, I teach this all over the nation, guys. If you get a chance to see me live, take me up on it. It really is. I'm going to say it's a treat for not just for you, but for me as well. I love teaching. It is my passion. It is my ministry to teach. In fact, you see up in the upper right, that's a very befitting picture. Paul on my team actually put this little collage together, but that was me in Spring, Texas, at a church. Okay, and sometimes I do actually bring the material to churches. It wasn't a Sunday morning, but the place was packed. Okay, we had a lot of fun. This is just a little bit about me, just so you guys know who you are learning from. I've been an entrepreneur since the age of 12. Okay. When I was 12 years old, many of you can kind of identify with this. I was always trying to sell something. I wanted to make money. Okay. And I launched my multiple 6 and 7 figure businesses over the years. In fact, I have not had a W-2. I was just talking to somebody about this. I haven't had a W-2 since 1993. And I started working from home. I said, if the president of the United States can work from home, why can't I? And I've been working from home ever since. I started off in the music industry, did very well there. And then I got into real estate and did very well in real estate. I made my first $1 million at the age of 29. That's when I was in the music business. At that time, I was had a major deal, a big deal that I signed with EMI Capital. I had 18 artists on my record label, and there were 14 employees on payroll. And we had a really very thriving Christian record label. And it was the number one record label in its genre in the world. And a funny thing happened. The industry changed. The industry changed. It went digital. And I didn't change with the industry. And when that happened, by the way, I'm seeing a very similar thing with this NAR settlement. After this NAR settlement, we'll talk about that. But everything in real estate is about to change for those of you that are focused on buyers. Okay, it's about to change. And I want you to be prepared for it by becoming a listing specialist. That is the way that you're going to be on top. That's the way you're going to be the king. Whether you like it or not, this is the way that you're going to be the king of the industry. You've got to start, you've got to lead with listings. You have to. I just got one under contract, and and I thought I did a great job as a buyer agent. I did a great job. And they said, no, I put the offer in 3%, and they came back after everything else was agreed. No, the seller's going to give you 2.5. Now, what can you do about it? Right? Well, just think about it. This house had been on the market for 6 months. Some of you guys know what I'm talking about. This house had been on the market for 6 months. I come in with a buyer. We made a decent offer, and you're still cutting the commission, which is okay. If that, you seller is okay to pay whatever they want. But imagine, and right now they need us as buyer agents. They need buyer agents. But what happens when the market is such that, and we remember how it was, those of you that remember this, you'd put the house on the market on Thursday. By Sunday, you had multiple offers. It was pending by Monday. That's coming back again. All right. We don't know when, but it will come back. And the ones that are in the position of listers are going to prevail. The ones that are in the buyer position, what do you think they're going to want to pay you? Think about this for a minute. 7 offers come in on the property, and the seller is going to review all offers. And you're asking for 3%. This other agent would do it for 1%, or maybe they'll do it for a flat fee. Okay. Maybe they'll do it for $1,000. Okay. Who do you think might win out on that offer? See, when you're focusing on buyers, I'm just going to tell you, Uncle Knolly's going to tell you, Uncle Knolly's going to prepare you. And you guys have been following me. Okay. For those of you that have, you know that I don't blow smoke. Okay. I'm just telling you to prepare for this, that it is coming when the buyer agent is going to be extremely devalued. And the listing agent's still going to be able to come in and say, hey, I charge, I charge 4%. That's what I charge on every listing is for myself. I charge 4%. Okay. And if they want to pay the buyer that additional 3%, then it ends up being 7. So, when I was in the real estate business, 29 years old, I was making millions of dollars a year. Okay. Over $150,000 a month in my 20s. But the whole thing imploded, and that all went away because I did not change with the business. I did not shift with where the business went. I took over 1,000 listings when I got into real estate. Many of you that have been in business in the real estate game in Austin, you've seen it. I became the number one real estate agent in Austin, Texas, my 4th year in the business. That was based on the Austin Business Journal. I did 96 transactions my 4th year. And I was the number one solo agent in Austin that year. And I've never had a year after that where I didn't, until for my whole career, where I didn't do 120, 130, 140, 150 deals. I retired from selling real estate in 2014, believe it or not, even though I still sell maybe 2 or 3 deals a month. I consider myself retired. I went into full-time ministry of teaching other agents how to succeed in this game. And that's what I'm doing today. I'm a best-selling author of 9 books. Some of you have some of my books. And now for the most part, if you want almost any of my books, through the nonprofit, we give them away for free. Okay. But there's a lot to learn. Okay. I went through a lot of life lessons, and one of the big ones was when I was a kid. And we talked about the fact that, my mom was born in Dayton, Ohio. I was actually born in Brooklyn, New York. My mom and dad met in Dayton, Ohio, but then they separated when I was about 7 years old. And what happened when I was seven was when they separated, I felt lost. I felt very lost. I didn't have dad anymore. And my mom became very angry, very, very upset, angry. Now, people ask me all the time, hey, is that a nickname? Nolly, is that a nickname? Well, I happen to be a junior. My name is Knolly Alexander Williams Jr. My dad, Knolly Alexander Williams Sr. And mom hated dad. Okay, it just got to that point. She hated dad and she took it out on us. She would beat us with extension cords, whips, for no reason. I would be sitting there watching my cartoons with my Captain Crunch, Saturday morning, and she would slap me half across the room. Boy, you look like your father. You disgust me. I hate you. I'm sorry I ever had you. You'll never amount to anything. That's what mom told me. Okay. And I grew up that way. That was from about 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, all the way till I was 16 years old. And I did something at 16 that I regret doing it, but I had to do it. I ran away from home, never went back. See, I've been on my own since I was 16. I didn't finish high school. Okay, I dropped out of high school. I got into whatever I could get into. At that time, we were living in South Central LA. Okay, it was a rough area, very, very bad. And I got into, some bad stuff, some dirt. And but I knew that because mom said I would never amount to anything, and I was starting to, and that started to bear fruit in my life. How many of you know? Just think about it for a minute. When you've been told something for so long, for long enough, you start to believe it. You start to think and you start to take on that identity. That identity becomes you because that is what you start to believe. Well, I got to tell you, I had a rendezvous with Jesus Christ when I was 18 years old, changed my life, and I surrendered my heart to God and got on the right path. And this is me at 18. I got an office job. Uncle Nolly became an honest man, had the Bible in my hand, a smile on my lips, joy in my heart. Still have that today. And I became an office manager, and I started to believe things differently. How many maybe you know this, but the truth is you are what you believe. When you start to believe differently, this is me 10 years later. 10 years later, I was making multi-millions, okay? And I was doing very, very well, and still with the joy of the Lord, okay? Still with the joy of the Lord. The truth is, you can do whatever it is that God has put his hand for you to do in this realm, but you got to believe. You got to believe that you can do it. And a lot of what we're going to talk about, we're not going to get into. I want to give you tactical stuff today, but a lot of the stuff that I teach is going to be around mindset, but it's going to be through tactical means of getting to the mindset. When you start to change what you believe, see, I don't believe that I know I'm a child of God. I know that I'm worthy. I know that you're worthy. I know that there's more within you than what, the world is seeing. Okay. I know that there's more to it. That's the reason why I started our nonprofit 501(c)(3), which is provides free training for real estate agents, business leaders, and entrepreneurs. Okay, because I was the guy that didn't finish high school, got my GED, and didn't finish college, and I had a lot to learn, and other people sowed into me. Now I'm sowing into others. Okay, this is what it's all about, in my opinion. My mission is to inspire you to become all that God created you to be so that you can really live that life that you were meant to live. I really believe that, just think about it for yourself. Are you really living up to the true potentiality, even in this business that God has for you? Think about this for a minute. Your business is not who you are. Okay. And many of you know this, but I'm just going to remind you, you are not your business. You are not real estate. Well, if I say, hey, who are you? Well, I'm a realtor. No, 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 no. Okay. Real estate is a conduit to your purpose. Each one of us has a specific purpose, and real estate is a conduit to fulfill that purpose. And and rightly so. Okay. So you can shine and be who you are in within the realm of real estate. Okay. I want you to live your dream life. And what is that? I already know what it is because I have coached tens of thousands of agents, and the dream life seems to be, the consensus seems to be making a quarter million or more a year, having nights and weekends off, taking 4 to 5 vacations a year, being completely debt free, and working 3 hours a day. You know, this is not only the life that many desire, but I think it's the life that you deserve. It really is. You know, the real estate, when you look at, and a lot of people tell me it's impossible. I'm like, well, this is the life I've been living for I don't know how many years. Okay. And I actually teach others how to do this, and many have duplicated this way of living. The reality is 80% of the things that you do are bringing in 20% of your income. And there's about 20% of the things that you do that bring in 80%. On the life of a listing, think about this for a minute. There's 46 steps. I have my 46 step checklist. Step one is you generate the lead. Step 11 is when you go on the listing appointment. And then step 40 is when you close the transaction. There's 6 steps that happen after closing. How many of those do you think even require a license of those steps? There's 46 steps. How many require a license? Okay, just think about that for a minute. There's only about 3 to 5, depending on what state you're in, of those steps in the 46 steps that require a license. Okay, so if you were only to focus on, by the way, if you just did two things, I'll just give you the nuts and bolts. If all you did in your real estate practice was generate leads and go on listing appointments, you'd be rich. That's it. If that's all you did all day, okay, for your however many hours you choose to work, you know, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, it's up to you. Okay. I've run my real estate practice where I've worked 4, 5, 6 hours a week. Okay. And I did not have a lot of agents. I've always been a solo agent, and I've had a licensed assistant and multiple unlicensed assistants, depending on how many listings I had. Right now, I'm carrying 11 listings. You look up my inventory here in Austin, I've got 11 listings right now. There was a time when I had over 120 listings. Okay. And that's when stuff was taking forever to sell. It was backlogged. Okay. Which is kind of like it is today, isn't it? Right. Things are taking so long to sell, but that's just the cycle of the game. All right. If I can get you to this life, that to me would be a win, you know. Now, what are we going to learn today? We're going to learn the listings really are the best opportunity in real estate. I feel like you know that, but I'm going to really drill it in. We're going to see why. I'm going to show you how you can transition your core business to listings, how to win the listing before you ever meet with the seller, how to earn more money while working less, and how to get all the tools that I've used, all my success tools that have helped me take over 100 listings a year for 10 years in a row at no cost to you. Okay? That sound like a good agenda? All right. Well, let's get to it. This is me again. You've seen, you know, I teach and train. I love to do this all over the place. I want to thank you for being here because I know it's the week before Christmas. There's a lot of places that you could be. And you might even said, man, I'm not even going to jump on today, but you did. And God has you here for a reason. I want to go over a couple of ground rules. I want you to pay close attention, minimize your distractions. This is a chance for you and your family to prosper. Okay. So don't go checking email and doing all that. That's not the time for that right now. Okay. Put the cell phone on do not disturb. I already put mine on, and have fun. Okay. We're going to have a little fun together. I want to talk to you first about this paycheck that you'll never spend. The paycheck that you'll never spend. I was in a coffee line. In fact, I have my coffee here this morning. I was in this long coffee line at a convention. I was with a brokerage at the time that had big conventions, and you know, and I love teaching and training, so I would just do it as a volunteer, just like I do today. Everything that I do teaching wise is volunteer. Volunteer. I don't charge speaking fees. I do it on a volunteer basis through my 501(c)(3), which, by the way, I don't take a salary from the 501(c)(3). I'm a volunteer for that. Well, I was in line, and this guy comes up behind me. He says, "Are you Knolly Williams?" And I looked at the guy. Okay, I'm in this long coffee line, right? And I'm like, man, ain't too many black cowboys up in here, bro. You know what I'm saying? I didn't tell him that, but I'm thinking that in my head. You know, I hadn't had my coffee yet, so I'm a little bit cranky. I'm like, yeah, I'm Nolly. Do I know you? He said, man, I don't know you, bro. You don't know me, but I got to tell you, you changed my life. I'm like, what is this guy talking about? So I looked at him and said, well, talk to me. What's up? He said, man, I got to tell you, I went to your training and I was so down. I was about to go get a regular job. Some of you might be in that position, or maybe your family said, hey, you got to go get you a regular job. Okay. I don't know anything about those because I'm not into that. But that's what his family had been telling him. You got to go get a job. This real estate thing isn't work. It's not working out for you. So he was right on the verge, and he went through my training, and I never met him. It was all virtual. And he says, I took from this day, right now, I'm standing in front of you. He said, I took 60 listings. And what this has done for me, what you've done for me, is you've allowed me to put food on the table for my family. Man, that just I was like, you know what you're doing is making an impact. Now, since then, I've had thousands and thousands of people tell me the same, something similar. But right then and there, I determined as I got my coffee, I said, I'm going to do this as a ministry. This is a legacy. And people talk about leaving a legacy, and a lot of times we talk about leaving money behind. But we already know statistically, those of you who have worked in probate, you know that the money only lasts for about 18 to 24 months. After the person dies, whoever gets the money spends it. That vacation that the person didn't take because they were saving up their money to pass it on to the next generation. Guess what? Now they're taking the vacation that person never took. Now they're driving the fancy car that person never bought, right? So we realize that money can't really be true legacy because in most cases it's gone within 18 months. And scripture says that a wise person leaves an inheritance, a legacy for their family. I don't think it's talking about money. Scripture says that my people perish for lack of knowledge. And knowledge is really the only, in my opinion, the only legacy that we leave is knowledge, wisdom. What are you leaving behind? And so I know, I'm with a clear conscience, everything that I do in this business, I share and tell others how I did it. And that's just what God has me doing. So let me tell you one more story, and then we're going to get into some more of the training. I was at this happens to be in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Okay, I was in a class in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and this guy comes in, and I didn't know it at the time, but he was homeless. Okay, this guy was living out of his car. He had no money. He had no savings. He was brand new to real estate, and he had never sold a house. He'd never met with a buyer. He'd never met with a seller. He came into my class just like everybody else. He blended in pretty well. I challenge you to find out which guy it is that was homeless in this picture. And I didn't know until afterward, but he actually invested in all my tools and my system and everything that I have. He was able to get it. There's a way to get it at no cost, so he was able to get reimbursed all the expense but he laid up some expense for it. And this is what he wrote to me. This is the guy, by the way, Richard Anderson, right there. Okay, he just blended in just like everybody else. All right. He said, because of Knolly's book and listing success toolkit, I was able to get my first listing. Yes, my very first. I was one of 6 agents interviewed, but because of the listing system, the book, and my approach, the owners chose to work with me. Oh yeah. The best part, the house sold for 539,000. Now, Richard Anderson was homeless when he met me. He got a paycheck for $15,000. That paycheck took him off the streets. 1 year later, he wrote to me. He wrote to me right after this, but then 1 year later, he wrote to me, he said, Knolly, I just bought my first house. I just bought my first house. Years later, he wrote to me, he says, I just started my own brokerage. And then he became a lawyer. He took he went to law school and became an attorney. It all started from coming to my class and not thinking that he could do. He went up against 6 other agents. He got the deal. Why? Because he got the confidence. The confidence. And that's what I'm going to help you with today. This is the complete toolkit. You guys are all going to have access to it, so don't worry about it. We'll talk about it later. But this is a lot of people tell me, man, what's your secret? How did you do it? I say, man, I got the best tools, bro. I got all these tools, and when sellers see them, they got to go with me. It's like a secret weapon. Okay. We'll talk about that later. I do want to share with you that I have at this point, over 250 five-star reviews. In fact, I have a five-star average on Google. Why is that important? Well, there's a lot of trainers out there. You guys know who they that are a little bit, like that kind of ish. And I won't name any names, but they don't have good reviews. Okay. What I teach works. And that's why I have over 250 five-star reviews. Okay. It works. When it works, it works. All right. And in fact, I didn't even start teaching any of this stuff till I had already sold 1,000 listings. Okay. Had already done that. So here's another quick case study with Angela and Tex Fleming. What I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to build the belief in you that anyone could do this. You can do it. I can do it. And anyone can do this. So when Angela and Tex Fleming came to me, they didn't have a single deal on the horizon, no deals whatsoever. And they actually started one-on-one coaching, which is very expensive. I talk most people out of it because it's expensive, and there's ways to do accountability where you can just have an accountability partner and you don't have to pay these expensive coaching fees. Okay. But they went ahead and hired me. I charged 2,500 a month for one-on-one coaching. That's what they paid. That's what they wanted to do. That's what they did. And so it's not something I push or will even talk about today because you got to kind of corner me and say, hey, look, I want a one-on-one coach. And then I open it up for very few people just because I don't have the time. And so anyway, they started, look at this. He says, okay, numbers for the day. I said, you got to send me your numbers. Let me know if this stuff is working. Spoke with 4 FISBOs, appointment set for 2, appointment this Friday, appointment this Saturday. Both of them are frustrated, said they are going to list. Sent out 3 listing agreements today. How would you like? Now, I teach a method of being able to send out the listing agreement and you already have the signed listing before you ever meet with the seller. Okay, that's what I taught them. And they had 3 signed listing agreements that was on January 10. And then look, January 22nd, just 12 days later, 5th listing agreement just signed for the month of January. They went from having nothing on the books, no closings, no pendings, no actives, to having 5 listings signed. And I show you this just so that you realize that it doesn't matter where you are in your real estate business, this stuff will help you. Okay. In fact, there are really 3 kinds of business owners that I like to work with. Number 1 is newbie Ned. So Ned's in his first few years of business and not quite meeting his goals. Ned, he needs to get his feet under him and is confused about what to do. Now, see if you can see yourself in one of these 3. That's newbie Ned. That was Richard Anderson. Remember when he came into my class? He was a newbie Ned. He was confused about what to do. Once he got clear about what to do, which you're going to get clearer about that on this training today, he was off and running. For the most part, we have Coach and Crystal. Now, Crystal has been in business for some time. She's gained a clientele and is coasting at a semi-steady basis. Crystal needs to maximize her impact and income to move from feast or famine mode and is confused about how to do it. So what's troubling Crystal is, Knolly, I know what to do, bro, but how do I do it? But what's troubling Ned is, man, I don't even know what to do. So now there's another avatar that I work with, and that's Rockstar Rick. So Rick is on fire. He's making good money. He's looking for ways to grow his personal business and his brand, his life, and he also wants to work less. Now Rick desires to grow, and his biggest issue is knowing who to hire or partner with so that he can grow to his ultimate potential. That's Rockstar Rick. I remember I was in Spring, Texas, that event that I did not too long ago, and there was a guy there, Frank Gray, and Frank had 480 agents at his brokerage, 480 something agents, almost 500. And I got to sit down with the number 1 agent, and she was so excited. She's number 1. I mean, think about it. Being number 1 out of 480, that's pretty cool, right? And I was soaking it in. She was like, "Oh yeah, this and that, and I'm a number one, and da da da." And she wasn't bragging about it, but she was just very happy. She's very. So I looked at her after a while. I looked at her. I said, "How much are you working?" And you know what happened? Her countenance changed. You read in the Bible says the countenance changed, like her face. I saw it happen in real time. Okay, her face just completely changed, and she looked at me. She said, "Nolly, I work all the time. I can't go to my kids' soccer games. I can hardly pick them up from school. I got nannies for this." And, so, but here's what I want you to understand. No matter where you are, okay, at least you know what you got to work on. So if you're newbie Ned, you got to know what to do. If you're coasting Crystal and you're in feast or famine, you got to know how to do what you should be doing, okay, so that you have consistent income. And then if you're Rockstar Rick, man, you got to know who to partner with so that you can stop working all the time. Okay. And I teach you how to actually have a team without having to pay anything out of pocket, okay, for them. That's another class, but it's very important that you don't spend all the money you make on this stuff. So throw it in the chat. Let me know where do you see yourself in this? Are you Rockstar Rick, Coasting Crystal? Uh, uh, okay, Garcia says I want to be Rockstar Rick. Yeah, that's all of it. Let me see where we're at. Newbie Ned. Yeah, Newbie Ned. That's Jen. Alita's Newbie. Coasting Crystal. That's Jennifer. Lucy is coasting. Okay. James, Coasting Crystal. I love you guys. John May says Coasting Crystal. So we got a lot of Derek is newbie. Yeah, halfway between Ned and Crystal. That's a really good one. That's good to know. We've got okay, newbie and coasting. Okay, okay. That's good. That's good. So that kind of tells me, that gives me a temperature of the room, kind of what to continue to focus on for you guys. We're gonna get right into the tactics and the how-tos because I know that's where most of you want to be. So let me go back to looks like I'm gonna have to share. Let me just share. I'll share my whole screen. So let's get back into this because this is so important. It's good to know where you are because that's what tells you what to work on. If you can take a screenshot of this, that's great. Um, it tells you what to work on. So first of all, as we go through this, I want you to really understand why listings are so important. Why listings are so important. You see, focusing on seller listings will allow you to get what you want faster and allow you to have a life. I didn't write that, by the way. I didn't write that. Another person wrote that you all know. His name is Gary Keller. Gary Keller. Think about it for a moment. Let's say you've got 11 buyers and they all want to buy. They're ready to buy right now. It's kind of a good problem to have, actually. They all want to buy right now. And Jennifer, I did see your hand raised, but I'm gonna get questions in just a moment. But let's say they all want you got 11 buyers, they all want to buy right now. Okay. Are you going on that cruise? You better unpack your bags. Okay. Now I know you can use showing services and all that, but you got a lot of coordinating to do. Okay. You're not going on that cruise. But let's say you have 11 listings. Man, bro, we cruising. We're about to go on a cruise. Why? Because all my inventory, I can hand it over to another agent that's part of my group, in my office or part of my organization or whatever. And it's not like you're going to pay them a finder fee. Just think about if you were to hand all 11 buyers over to an agent. They're going to want a split of that commission. Like, what are you talking about? But if you already have the listing, all I need you to do is babysit those listings for me. If any of them go into escrow, I'll give you 500 bucks. Okay. I'm not going to give you a split because it's already my listing, right? It's a whole different ball game when you get to focus on listings. I got a question for you. What percentage of your business should be focused on listings? Now there was a research project done in 2003. It's been over 20 years, and they interviewed the top 100 real estate agents in the nation. And based on that research project, a book came out called The Millionaire Real Estate Agent. Okay. In that book, there was a statement that said there's a percentage of your time that you should be focusing on listings. What would you guess? Now, by the way, when Gary wrote this book, he had 14,000 agents, 14,000, and grew after the book to over 200,000. So probably he was saying a few things right, wouldn't you say? Okay. And he interviewed the top 100 agents in America. And this is what he concluded. So throw it in the chat, what you think. What would you say is the percentage of time that you should be focused on on sellers? Let me see what we got. And by the way, there's no wrong answers in my class. We're just having fun here. Um, let's see. Uh, Jen says nice glasses. Thank you, Jen. You know, sometimes I got to put my eyes on. Let's see. 70%, that's Karen. 80%, that's good. That's good. Trudy says 80%. Gladys says 70%. Sham says 85%. Woo! Uh, and then Kechode says 90%. Ooh, Savannah said 100%. Are you crazy? Brenda says 70%. Sophia says 85%. Ed says for me it's 100% because of health. I have not gone out of my farm. Yep, 100. Okay, I'm 55. Okay, I see you. I see you, Ed. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, not taking buyers around. And this is another thing that I see for health reasons. A lot of times people will gravitate to listings because they know the listings are easier from a standpoint of running around and being pulled. Okay, we're going to get into that. Alita says 80%. Lucy says 100%. James Breedlove says 75 to 80%. And so on and so on. Ikwanze says 100% and Melissa says 90%. So here's what Gary had to say about it. Okay. Gary says that there are so many great reasons to devote how much? All of your time and effort to taking and marketing listings. Make listings your primary focus. So when I got into real estate, I read this book before I started practicing. And this guy was telling me to focus all of my time and effort into taking and marketing listings. So how much time do you think I focused on listings? All of it. That's just what I did. Okay. Now, did I get buyers? Of course I got buyers. The more listings you have, the more you can't keep buyers away when you have listings. You got to bat them off with a stick. Okay. You get yourself 10, 15 listings, you got buyers all day. Okay. You get 2, 3 listings, you got buyers. So buyers is a byproduct of listings anyway. So I'm going to give you 7 reasons why you should be focusing on listings, and then we're going to keep moving forward. So seller listings really mean more opportunities for you. That's branding. So every time that you have your sign in the yard, you know what it's saying? It says, hey, the Joneses, they trust me with their home. Shouldn't you? Okay. Everybody driving through the neighborhood, walking their dog, they see your sign, your logo, your face, your QR code. Okay. It's a marketing. You can't list a buyer and market that way for other deals. Write this down. Every listing you take, you should have 4 closings if it's properly marketed. A lot of you don't properly market your listings, and that's another class. Okay, we can get into the weeds. And I've got hundreds of hours of training. I'm going to show you guys how you can get that without having to pay for it. But right now, today, let's focus. Okay, for every listing you take, you should sell at least that listing. That's one. You could have 4 escrows. That listing, you should be able to get another listing if you properly do what we call circle prospecting around that listing. You have another listing, and then you should be able to get 2 buyer leads from that listing. Okay. So you have the potential of up to 4 escrows on every listing you take. Now, reason number 2 is you get more control of your time. When's the best time for a buyer to look at a house? When's the best time for them to see a house? Nights, weekends, when it's least convenient for you. You're like, look, I got a dental appointment on Tuesday. Any other day I can go, but I got a dental appointment on Tuesday afternoon. Why don't we go Tuesday afternoon? Would that work for you? Like, dude, I just told you I got a dental. If it's not convenient for you, that's the time they're gonna pick. It just kind of feels like it does that. We got this robot in our house that it sweeps the house, the Roomba. Many of you probably have that, the iRobot. And it just seemed like this morning I go to brush my teeth, there's the iRobot. I'm like, dude, we got 3,000 square feet up in here, bro. Why are you up in my space when I'm trying to brush my teeth, man? You know, but it's right there with me. I'm like, man, is this thing, does it see me? Like, what's going on here? Anyway, that's how kind of like it feels. I remember one time I had one of my agents, and his clients called him out. It was 4th of July, the 4th of July. He had already tossed back a couple. You know, it was 4th of July. He's off. And they said, no, we're gonna go look at houses. He was like, it's 4th of July. I'm at a picnic. No, we want to go right now. You gonna take us or not? If not, we're gonna get somebody else to take us. Okay. So then he goes in an Uber showing them properties on 4th of July. Okay, that's what it was. But that's you get more when you have a you know what let me just throw this out there. With my sellers, because I properly train them, do you know what the first thing they do when they call me on a night or weekend? My sellers, okay? Not buyers, but my sellers, you know what the first thing they do when they call me on a night or weekend? They apologize. Nolly, I know it's 6 o'clock. I'm so sorry to be calling you at I really, Nolly, I know it's Saturday. I really apologize for calling you on a Saturday. That's the first thing they do. Okay. Now, again, when's the last time a buyer apologized for calling you on a night or weekend? Or ever? Okay. It's not going to happen. Now, reason number three is you actually will maximize your per hour compensation. I want you to write something down. I want you to write three things: $15, $150, and $1,500. Write that down on a piece of paper or on your phone, wherever. $15, $150, and $1,500. Now I have a 46-step listing system. We don't have time to get into it today, and it's so easy. I've got lots of training on it for you. I've got classes and stuff on that, so don't worry about it. But what I always tell my students is, hey, for every single one of these things that you do on a listing, I want you to rate it. Would you pay somebody $15 an hour to do that? Would you pay them $150 an hour, or would you pay them $1,500 an hour? Okay. See, when you work in listings, you actually get to say, I'm only going to do the stuff that's 1,500 that I would actually pay somebody $1,500 an hour to do. I remember when I hired a person just to go out and do my presentations. So I did all the lead generation, but I didn't want to go on listing appointments. Okay. And so I hired because I just got tired of doing it. It was like rinse and repeat. It was just, mundane. And so I hired somebody and I paid her the equivalent of like 1,500 bucks an hour. Like probably it was too much. I wouldn't pay that much now, but the point is I respected that particular job that much. Whereas there's some things that are $15 an hour. If there's anything that you would pay somebody $15 an hour to do, I don't want you doing that anymore. Okay. And it's so easy to have the control of your time and your compensation when you're focused on listings. Now, reason number four is because listings bring you more business. We talked about that already. You're going to get more buyers just by virtue of the fact that you have listings. It's going to happen. Okay. Because now guess what? You're the queen of the market. You're the queen of the market. You're the king or queen of your area, and it doesn't have to be your whole city, just of the area that you are the mayor of. Okay. We'll talk about that. Reason number five is that you can run your business from anywhere. Some of you know that I moved to Puerto Rico for 3 years. I moved to Puerto Rico and I still had listings. Okay. I still sold properties in Texas. And I took my eye off the ball a little bit. I'm back in the game now just because I miss it. But you could be anywhere. Here's a guy in his pajamas. Guess what? He just did a Zoom listing appointment and got the listing. Okay. And I teach you how to do that. It's so easy. So easy. And people will list with you if you set it up correctly. Okay. If you set it up the right way, see, the best time to win over the seller is before you get to the listing appointment. Let me say it again. You've got to win the listing before you ever meet with the seller. All right. How many of you, think about it for a minute. How many of you, if you decide to go out to eat sushi, or maybe you're going to go have a nice meal at, some barbecue, whatever it is, or even a nice salad. Okay. How many of you will actually Google the restaurant before you go? In other words, you're going to look up their reviews and you might read a few or just see how many stars they get. What if that restaurant gets like 1 or 2 stars, are you going to eat there? We're not trying to get sick. We got business to do. It's Christmas. I don't want to be sick during Christmas. Okay. I'm not eating there. Okay. And so in the same way, your clients are looking you up. You know who's the hardest people to convince to list with? Your friends and family. Okay. Now, unless you've been in business for a while, they know you got game. If you're new to the business, because people think, oh, I'm just gonna, I'm brand new. My friends and family are gonna hire me. Uh-huh. I'm new to the business. Can I practice on your house? No, 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 no. You got to look the part, okay? And here's the cool thing. You can run your business from anywhere. Some of you guys are not at that point yet, and that's just that's a mindset thing, and that's okay. But there will come a point where I do it all the time. I've taken 3 listings this month that I didn't phys of the 4 listings I've taken, I physically sat down with one person. All the others were done over the phone or through Zoom. Okay. So we won't unpack that today because I just want you to know that it's possible for you. Reason number 6 is you get to adopt the buyer. Okay. Every single time that we close on a deal, I put the buyer in my database. I know where they live. Okay, they just bought my listing. And that's the reason why Craig called me up. He said, Nolly, I want to sell my house. And I'm like, who is this guy? I don't know. I don't know this guy. So I'm like, oh yeah, he bought one of my listings. That's the easiest sale in the world. Okay, easiest. Okay. Craig calls me up. He bought one of my listings. Why is he calling me? Because the agent who sold him the house stopped staying in touch with him. Okay. So I actually adopt the buyer. See, a lot of agents don't understand that when you're listing property, you're actually like running for mayor for that listing. Okay. And when you get the listing, you won the election. You got the listing. But once the property sells, you got to get reelected again. You can't, it's not like you just, somebody said, well, that's my client. No, I think you guys closed escrow. Once you close escrow, it's nobody's client anymore. Okay. And so that's the reason why Uncle Nolly, because I know that 88% of real estate agents, they stop staying in touch with their clients. I don't. So I put them in my database and they call me and here's how the listing appointment went with Craig. Okay. And I've had this happen over 100 times. Okay. They call me up. They've been getting my newsletter. They've been getting my emails, my drip campaigns. And they say, hey, we want to sell our house. I say, hey, Craig, I sold that house before. Yeah, I know you sold the house before. That's why we called you. And I can sell it again, right, Craig? Yeah, we believe you can sell it. All right, well, let's just get together and sign the paperwork. Or let's get, I tell you what, Craig, I've already seen the house. Oh, you've done a few things too, new things? Okay, great. I'm going to have Laura come out and look at all the new things you've done. But in the meantime, let's jump on a Zoom and let's talk about getting the paperwork done so we can get your house sold. All right, Craig? Okay, that sounds good to me. We jump on Zoom. It's just that easy. Okay. So you get to adopt the buyer. A lot of people have trouble with this, but trust me, there are a lot of orphan buyers out there and they're looking for somebody to take care of them. All right. And by the way, if you take good care of your buyers after you close them, they're never going to accept, they're always going to go back to you. They're not going to take a call from me. Okay. Or they're going to unsubscribe from my list because they love you. All right. But most agents don't do it. And that's the reason why you add them to your those people to your database. And then reason number 7 is that seller listings are highly leveraged. What does that even mean? That means that with every listing that you get, and we've talked about this already, you get to utilize other people to service the listing. Okay. Other people in your, whether it be my people happen to live in the Philippines, the ones that service my listings. Okay. But they work for me. And so what I do after I've gotten that, I'm on the Zoom call or I'm in person with, face to face with a person, and they've just signed the listing paperwork. I say, you know what, Karen, I'm kind of sad right now. Karen's like, well, what you sad about? Aren't we about to get this? Yeah, I'm going to get your house sold. Don't worry about it, Karen. We're going to I'm going to 100% get your house sold. But Karen, have you ever flown on an airplane? Karen looks at me like, yeah, I've flown an airplane. Well, you remember back in the day, now, Karen, you're probably too young to remember this, but let me just tell you, back in the day, This actually happened to me recently on a flight. The first person back in the day, before 9/11, before it got crazy, the first person you would see when you got on the plane was a captain. He'd shake your hand. How you doing? How's everything going? Hey, welcome, welcome, welcome. And then who was the last person you saw when the flight was over? Plane landed, you got off the plane. Who was greeting you? It was the captain. Now they don't do that so much anymore, but back in the day they used to. Now, I got a big question for you, Karen. Did you see the captain during the flight? What do you mean? Well, during the flight, did you see the captain? Like, was he giving you peanuts? Did he give you pretzels? Did he give you a blanket? Maybe you wanted an adult beverage. Maybe you wanted I don't know, a Sprite. I don't know what was the captain handling all that for you? No, of course not. Where was the captain, Karen? Oh, the captain was in the cockpit. Exactly. See, Karen, that's where I'm going to be for the next however many months it takes us to get your house sold. See, we're going from here to sold, right? That's where we're headed to sold. I'm in the cockpit. You're not going to see me, but make no mistake about it. I'm going to be in the cockpit the whole time. All right. You might see me here and there if I have to get up and go use the restroom, but in reality, you're not going to see me during the flight. Okay. You're going to see me at the beginning of the flight right now, and you're going to see me at the end, at the closing table. In between, anything that you need, guess what? My team handles all the details. So when I do that, what am I doing? I'm setting up the expectation to my client that I don't need to be involved. They don't need me involved. Okay. Um, and it works out brilliantly. I have a whole training on how to do this, by the way. It's not a very long training, it's like 40 minutes. And I actually interview a client of mine where when we got on the plane, we were actually taking a plane to Funnel Hacking Live back in 2017, and he was sitting on this guy was sitting on the window seat. My wife and I were sitting. My wife was in the middle, and I'm on the aisle seat. And this guy kept looking at me. He looked away, and he looked at me again. He looked away, and then he would look at me again. I'm like, man, what's going on with this guy? He said, "Are you Knolly Williams?" He said, no, no. He said, do you sell real estate? I said, yes, sir, I do sell real estate. He said, do you happen to wear a cowboy hat? I said, yes, sir, I got it right here. So I grabbed my cowboy hat, had it under the seat, grabbed my cowboy hat. He looked at me, he says, you're Nolly Williams. You sold my house. I reached over, I said, pleased to meet you, name. Sir, what's your name? And he introduced himself. Okay. Okay. I never met the guy. Okay. Because back then we did everything over the phone. And I literally never met him in person. But he saw my sign every day. And we actually did a YouTube video with me and him, did a video together after we got off the plane. And it was very interesting. But basically, his whole testimonial was that he was so well taken care of. See, your clients have to be taken care of better than if you would have taken care of them when they're entrusted to your people. Okay. And it's easy. It's easy. It's not even expensive. Okay. I pay $1,500 a month for my whole team, like my whole staff. Okay. $1,500 a month. I got a full-time person and a part-time person. I pay 1,500 bucks. Okay. And I have a whole mechanism that covers that so I don't have to pay it out of my commission. I mean, I don't want to go down too many rabbit holes. I'm just showing you guys that there's more possibility. And listings is the thing that you want to focus on. So I got a question for you, and I want you to throw it in the chat. Some of you might know my answer. If you do know what I think the answer is, don't type it in. But I just want to hear from those that just think about this question for a minute. There was a book come out called The One Thing, and the question is, what is the one thing I can do? And I asked myself this question, what's the one thing I could do to get more listings, such that by doing that one thing, everything else would be either easier or unnecessary? What would be the one thing that I could do such that by doing that one thing, everything else would be easier, everything else in my business would be easier or unnecessary? And I'm gonna look at the chat because I want you guys to throw it in the chat. What would that one thing be for you? If you could focus on one thing, remember, there's no there's no wrong answer. I just want to see kind of like what your thoughts are around this. Lead generation, of course, prospecting. Sham says prospecting. Gladys says, I'm the captain. Yes, you are. Karen gave me some fire. Becky wants to replay, and so on. So yeah, we'll work on that for you guys if we can get you guys a replay. But stick here because the good part is coming. James says, "Hey man, I do more lead generation." Duh. Brenda says I do more conversations. Gladys says listing meetings in person. Okay. And by the way, if you like to do them in person, that is more power to you. Okay. There's going to come a point in time like you and I think in person's the best. But like right now, you and I are not in person. Okay. But we're still able to accomplish what we need to do together. In person is the best way to do it. But when you start to get the volume, just think about it. If you took 10, 15 listings a month, you might start looking at other ways to do it. But that's okay. Even if, what would even two or three more listings a month do for you? So what, if you could pick one thing, more conversations, more listings in person. Let's go back to, so let's look at that. Um, more listing, more, yeah, more conversations. So here's what and some of you guys are shy. All right. I want participation. Um, Here's what I think. And I got to thinking about this. I said, if I could pick one thing, I would become famous. I would become famous, be well known. And I know it doesn't sit well for a lot of people, but the reality is you can be a very well-known person and you don't, that doesn't mean you have to be arrogant or haughty or pretentious. Jesus is very famous and he's none of those things. He's all the good things, right? So you can be well known without the negative connotations to being famous, and you should be famous. Everyone in your area should know who you are. Okay. Yeah, be the mayor. You got to be the mayor of your town. Someone says, I use a YouTube channel. There's all kinds of ways to do it. But I asked myself, I said, if I were, what would a famous person have? What's a famous person have? And I noticed that, most famous people, when you look at them, they have a couple of things. And we're going to talk about those. So the golden key to your success really is to become well known. You already know or have a ability to get to know how to do this business. The reality is, if you just had more at bats, you see, 70% of sellers list with the first agent they interview. Let me say it again. This is according to NAR, 70% of sellers list with the first person they interview. So what if you could just be the first person that gets in front of them? You'd get a lot more listings just that way. This is what Troy Tomlinson said. He says, Nolly, when I first got my license around 18 months ago, I watched just one of your videos and since have watched them all. But I still believe that the first one that I saw gave me the most valuable lesson I've ever received. I did 4 years of college and got an accounting degree and was a high school college teacher, professor for a very brief stint. He says, people share my name that I have never even done a deal with uh, and make it a point. I make it a point to answer every question from every person, et cetera, et cetera. He says, so thank you so much for that lesson that I spent 6 years and $60,000 elsewhere to find. This was a $60,000 lesson for Troy Tomlinson. In fact, it's worth more than that, honestly. You got to become a celebrity. All right. And I've done that. You got many of you know, you see, I've got a YouTube channel, I've got a podcast. I teach you how to do all that stuff. But the point is, what is it really doing for me? It's helping me. It's helping more people to make the decision to hire me without the complexity of having to go back and forth. Should I do it? Should I not? It's a no-brainer. They're just like, yeah, duh, we're going to hire, they're going to hire you. It becomes a no-brainer. And so I have three secret tools that I've used to really connect with sellers and set myself apart. And the first one is my book. So I've got a book that I wrote with 8 chapters. It's this, if a person's just thinking about selling, I give them a copy of my book just to help them with, hey, look, I know you're just thinking about it. You don't want any pressure. You're not trying to sit down with a salesperson. Here's my book. It's going to help you to, decide if it's right for you. I go into how I market their home. I go into how I'm going to get their home priced. And I get them thinking about price, how to get their home ready for the market. Think about this for a minute. When you go on a listing appointment, what percentage of what you tell a client or what a potential client do they even remember of the conversation? Maybe 10%, maybe 15%. Well, when you leave your book behind, now all of a sudden they've got all of your information right there and they can go right. Okay. Once they list with you, now we got showings and they're like, hey, how do I do showings again? Oh, you know what? John, I'm glad you asked about the showings. That's in chapter 6. Just go to that chapter, read it. It only takes about, it's 6 pages. Read that chapter. It's going to tell you all about how we handle showings. Okay, great. Yeah, forgot about the book. Okay, now we get an offer. Okay, and I call the couple. I say, hey, we got an offer on your house. I think it's a good offer. I think you might need some work, but here's what I want you to do. I want you to read chapter 7. It's all about how we work with offers. Read that chapter, review the offer, and then call me and let's go over any questions you have. You know what happens? They call me. They're like, Nolly, I think we might have 2 questions. I'm not sure if we have any. Why? Because I answered all their questions in the book. They got the listing, they got the contract, the offer, and they got the book. They went through it like I told them to, and see what it does is it cuts your time, all the time that you have to spend. A lot of people like spending all that time on that, but there comes to a point where you feel like there's other things you could be doing with your time. Now, let's say we go to close on the sale. At the closing, what am I going to do? I'm going to give that seller 5 copies of my book. Why? Because if I give them 5 business cards, what's going to happen to those business cards? Well, they may not throw them away. Okay. But if if it's the wife, or, she throws them in her purse, that's even worse. You ain't gonna find those again. They're gone. They're lost forever. Okay. If it goes in the purse, I already know how that works, right? But if I give them 5 copies of my book, all right, and the book only costs $4 to print each, $4 per copy. I'm basically giving $20 worth of books, 5 books, and I say, hey, if you guys come across anyone that's in your similar situation that needs to sell their house, I want you to give them a copy of my book. And what that does is it makes you now become a sort of like now they're becoming recruiters for you to recruit more business for you. So I just can't even tell you. I mean, it took me 6 weeks to write it. It leverages my time, and it's a huge win when you have a book that helps guide sellers through the process. The other thing that you want to have is a killer pre-listing package. Now I'm going to show you a couple of things that are in my pre-listing package, just so um, what the kind of things that you want to put in there. So you've got the marketing plan. That's going to tell them all about how you market. You're going to have a page for testimonials. Now, you're not going to call it testimonials. I want you to get that word out of your vocabulary. Okay. You're going to call these reviews or case studies. Okay. Something like that. Um, Testimonials just kind of sounds like, we don't use that word anymore. I have another document called the top 4 reasons that homes don't sell. Now, in that document, now you guys already know the reason why homes don't sell, right? How many of y'all know why homes don't sell? Okay, we all know why they don't sell. But what the seller thinks is that if I go to a seller and it's an expired, and I say, hey, why would you say your home failed to sell? They're going to tell me the agent, they didn't do the marketing, they whatever it was. So I say, okay, and those things are important. Okay, you got to have a good agent. I get that. So I say, look, I have this document. I say, there's 4 reasons. These are the top 4 reasons homes don't sell. Number one, poor marketing. Number two, bad photos. Number three, you had a lousy agent. And number four, price. Now, Andrew, which of these 4 do you think affected the sale of your home? Poor marketing, bad photos, lousy agent, price. And you know what Andrew says? Man, that guy didn't do any marketing. The photos were terrible. And I just don't think they were a good agent. They're never going to admit that it was the price. Okay. So you go in and you're trying to beat them up on price. Well, we just need to change the price. Well, shoot, what's this guy talking about? I just need to change my price. When you go in talking their language, guess what? They start to open up. So now we've got the listing and we're 3 weeks into the listing. Okay. Had the listing for 3 weeks. I go back to Andrew. I say, hey, Andrew, remember we talked about that there's 4 things that sell homes? Let's review that again because your home so far has not really had any activity. So let's look at it again. Number one, poor marketing. Now, remember, Andrew, when I showed you my marketing plan and you said there wasn't anything else that you would even add to it, like it was perfect? So we already have that marketing plan implemented. So let's look at the next thing. Bad photos. Now, remember, Andrew, how we had a professional photographer come in. You said that when you saw the house, your wife and I looked at the photos. You said it made you almost want to buy the house just by seeing the photos, okay, of your own house. So you love the photos, right? Remember we had that drone fly in through your front door and go out the back? Yeah, the photos are great. So now the third reason is you have a lousy agent. Now, Andrew, do you think you have a lousy agent? I look them in the eye. They're like, no, we got a good agent. Well, then, Andrew, what do you think the problem could be? See, I only left them with one choice, price, right? Now they're coming to their own deduction. They're like, yeah. Well, Andrew, how are we going to fix that problem? And now see how I put it on their plate? Well, Nolly, what do you suggest? Well, let's take a look at what the market is saying. And boom, I show them the numbers. I show them the data. We get that puppy where it needs to be priced. It sells. You get a commission check in your pocket, and they get the success that they want. Okay, so that's the top four reasons homes don't sell. I've got another sheet in here which is my agent interview. Okay. And this is top 10 questions that you must ask any agent before you list your house. So in this sheet, I've got the question, I've got Nolly's answer, I've got the other agent. And what I tell them, I say, hey, if they tell me they're going to interview more than one agent, say, how many agents are you thinking about interviewing? They start, well, I'm interviewing agents. You know how sometimes a seller will call you like that? Well, I'm interviewing agents. Well, Carla, it sounds like you're interviewing agents, right? Yeah, yeah, I'm interviewing agents. I just told you that. Well, how many agents are you thinking about interviewing before you choose the right agent to get your home sold? Well, I'm going to interview three. Okay, I had one lady tell me she was going to interview 14. Oh, I felt so bad for her. Okay, felt so bad for her. Anyway, because I wouldn't want to sit down with 14 of y'all. Just kidding, but I felt bad for her. But most of the time they'll tell you they're going to interview three. Okay, I say, well, Carla, what specific questions are you going to ask, such that by asking those questions, you're going to make sure you pick the right agent. And Carla says, well, I'm going to ask this, I'm going to ask that, da da da, blah blah. And I write down everything she said. I said, Carla, you came up with three great questions, and I love those questions. I think they're great. In fact, they're really good. But Carla, I have a list of the top 10 questions that you must ask any agent before you ever list your house. In fact, before you even invite them out to your house, you should ask these questions. Would it help you to get a copy of that, a PDF copy of that list? Well, heck yeah, it would help me. Okay. So then what do? I send them my list of the top 10 questions to ask. And then I have the question, I have my answer. Okay. And then did the other agent answer with the correct answer? Yes or no? Okay. And there's a score at the bottom. Okay. Now, how many of these questions do you think I got right of the quiz, of the test? Duh, all of them, right? It's my quiz, right? So you come up with your own quiz, your own 10 questions that you can that will all get a yes answer. And then now you've got your own quiz that you can send to. I mean, this works like, I mean, it's so powerful, so powerful. There's another thing that I do that I have what I call now this is gold. If you haven't been paying attention, listen up now. So I have a homework packet. Okay. The seller's homework packet. It's like 4 pages, and it's like why my home is special. Home features that I really enjoy. The type of person I think would love my house is because of these features. How would you describe your home to a buyer? And I have them write it all out. What are the features you like most about your neighborhood and area? Okay. I have them write all that out. Okay. Now I plug all this into my AI, and then it spits out a beautiful description of the property based on their descriptions. Okay. And when I give it to them, they're like, wow, you nailed it. They love it. Okay. But then I have another page called My Home's Upgrades. I want to make sure I know about all the upgrades that they did to the house and how much they cost. Because if I need to talk to an appraiser and another agent that thinks it's overpriced, we can share this. And then I have a property information sheet, which is a checklist for MLS, so that when my team gets this, they can basically input everything into the MLS where it needs to go. And I'll tell my seller, I say, hey, look, Sheila, let me just be honest with you. I can spend 20 minutes walking through your house, filling this out myself. Okay. But you've lived here for 9 years. So I want to make sure we don't get anything wrong. So just as a precaution, I usually ask the seller to fill this out so that we have it 100% accurate and we have the highest ability to get your home sold for the best price. Now, do you want me to fill it out, or would you rather fill it out? I've never had a seller tell me they want me to fill it out. Okay. Because I just told them that it was better for them to fill it out. They fill it out. So this is the homework packet. Now, let me give you Let me give you a strategy around this. Okay, that's going to get you a lot more listings. Okay, what you want to do is you want to say, hey, Sheila, we're meeting today at 2. Could you make sure you have the homework packet filled out and 2 keys? Now, truthfully, my assistant will call with this, say Maria on my team. She said, "Hey, Nolly's going to be out there at 2 o'clock, and make sure you have the homework packet filled out with 2 keys." And then she'll call them again. She'll call them the day before and the day of, and make sure you got the homework packet filled out and 2 keys. Now, let's say you walk in the front door, you see the homework packet filled out and the 2 keys sitting there. What's that mean? You already got it. You already got the listing. Okay. So these little things that you can do ahead of time is really, really going to set you up for success at a whole nother level beyond what you can even imagine. And what I do when I see the homework packet sitting there, I don't just like, oh, yeah, yeah, thanks for filling out the homework. No, 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 no. Hold on a second. I grab the homework, I look at it, I'm like, ooh, this is so good. Oh, I love it. Oh, I'm gonna have ooh, you wrote this? Oh, this is great, And I can just see them grin. They just start smiling. They're like, oh, Uncle Nolly likes my homework. Yeah. See, we're still kids, guys. I just gave them 5 gold stars on the homework, and they're beaming. Okay. It's like the kid that runs home to show they got 100 on the test, right? And they put it up on the refrigerator door. So it's the same thing. We're all 3-year-olds. Okay. Don't make any mistake about it. So I have an incredible pre-listing package that I provide, and then I have a pre-listing video. And this is what each one of you should have: is you should have a book, you should have a pre-listing package, and you should have a pre-listing video. Okay, a pre-listing virtual listing presentation. And what that does is it really warms them up to you. When you meet a person the first time, it's kind of awkward, but when you meet them the second time, it feels like they've known you. And what your video does is it warms them up to you. And then when they see you in person, they feel like they know you already because they've already sat down and listened to you articulate what you're going to do to get their home sold. Okay. So when you think about it, all this kind of stuff really helps you to live your life by design. What the big thing that it does is it boosts your confidence and it boosts their confidence. When you go into a listing appointment with no confidence, everyone can tell. You can tell and they can tell, right? So now all of a sudden you've got all these tools and you walking in with your head high, right? And they're confident that you can get the job done because they've seen all your stuff, and you're confident that you can get it done because you got this whole program in place. So earn $250,000 or more a year, 20 to 30 hours a week or less is what I want you working. I want you to have nights and weekends off, 4 to 5 vacations a year, and I want you to be absolutely debt free. And I'm going to show you how. Now you can reinvent the wheel. You can create all this. By all means, this is what you need in your business. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise, because what will happen when you start utilizing this kind of stuff in your business, it's going to take you to another level. Okay. That's why I call it the overnight success toolkit, because it takes you to another level overnight. Okay. So I had years ago when I used to teach how to do all of this, and this guy come up to me. He says, "Man, can I just use your book?" And I got offended. I was like, "Man, you can't use that's my book, bro. What you talking about?" And I'm teaching you how to write. You write your book. You do this. You do that. But then I started thinking about it. I said, if I did a license, I could license this out, and then all of a sudden, someone could have their own book. So this guy actually gave me the idea at one of my classes. And so that's what I do. This is how my book looks. Consider it sold. Okay. And then, but now guess what? You pop my picture off, put your picture on. And then all of a sudden, right, you got your own book, right? The same contents on the inside. You could tweak it if you want to, because it's all in Microsoft Word. Real easy to tweak. If you don't have Microsoft Word, you can download it for free for 30 days and just tweak the book and then have it printed. But the way I'm going to show you how to get it at no cost to you, and let's look at that, because if you want to reinvent all this yourself, you can. But if you don't, if you want to go smart about it, then I'm going to show you how to get all this stuff at no cost. So why reinvent the wheel? This is what it is: the Overnight Celebrity Success Toolkit. And it comes with the editable seller guide, the pre-listing package, Everything that I just showed you, you can pop my picture out, put your picture in, done. By the way, some people don't even edit the contents of the book because it's been it's kind of like white label. So everything inside is pretty much accurate for any market, but you can tweak it as much as you want if you choose to. A lot of people don't. You got my pre-listing video. Now you can't pop my picture off the video and put yours. Maybe with AI you can actually, but I give you my whole script of the video that I use that I've used for years, and you can just tweak the script and then create your own video. So easy to do. I give you job descriptions for all your team members if you choose to build a team, and then I give you my entire operations manual. So all of this stuff comes with it. And here's how it works. So this is everything you're getting. It's the seller guide, the pre-listing package, the editable script to the video presentation, all the job descriptions, the training manual. If you were to do all this yourself, just trust me, you don't want to do it. Okay, you're talking hundreds of hours. If you were to hire a ghostwriter, you wouldn't want to do it because you'd have to pay them $1 a word. The book is 13,000 words. That's 13 grand. You wouldn't want to do it. Okay. So what I started doing was I said, you know what? I'm going to sell this for 9.97. Okay. Now I'm going to show you how to get it for free. Just bear with me. I'm going to do it for 9.97. And at the event, whenever I travel and do this, I do it for 6.97. Okay. That's an annual license. Okay. Now, what I'm doing today for the first 20, if those of you that say, hey, you want to just get this and not have to figure it out, I'm doing another $100 off. So basically on the website it's 9.97. Here it's 5.97. Now, how is it free? How do you get it at no cost? Pay attention. Okay, it's so easy. So essentially now you're going to have your own book. It saves you 300 or 400 hours. They're less than $4 to print, and you only have to do a minimum of 5 copies. So don't go out making a whole bunch of copies. Just make 5 at a time, 10 at a time. It's very simple, very easy. So you can go to Overnight Success Toolkit, and this is the code you're going to put in. I'm going to show you how to get it for free in a minute. The first 20 people, how to get reimbursed, is what I should say. If you use this code, take a screenshot, first 20, that's going to take you your $400 off for the first 20 people, okay, that do. And if you happen to watch this after the fact and we still have that available, then the code will still work for the first 20 people, okay? So try it out. Now, what if you could have a free virtual assistant working for you 24/7? Okay. Their job was to generate new seller prospects, provide guidance to your existing sellers, empower your current clients to recruit more business for you, and you get reimbursed 100% of their cost. What if you could hire a person like that? Well, that's your book. Your book now becomes your virtual assistant out there in the world, winning more listings for you. And here's how you do it at no cost. Basically, on the back of the book, you have a vendor service directory. You know how sometimes you'll have maybe a little league will call up and say, hey, we've got this calendar and we only have room for one realtor. It's the same concept. Okay. You're selling advertising space on the back of your book. So you're going to have a handyman, an inspector, a house cleaner, a carpet cleaner, a mover, a painter. Each one of them is going to pay you 99 bucks to be on the back of your book per year. Okay. It's an annual program. And that's going to get you $600 a year in vendors space. Okay. What I teach is that you should send it out to like 3 handyman or, 3 inspectors, 3 house cleaners, and the first one that says yes, they get that spot. Okay. Now you're also going to have a space in there for your preferred lender. And that's a little more expensive. It's a bigger slot. That's $299. And so essentially you're basically bringing in $900, per year just by having this system in place. Okay. So what I give you for the vendor program is a proven call script, an email script, an enrollment form for the vendors, a back cover template. So it's very easy to design that. We do it in Canva, 6 yeses and you're done. you got all your license fee back, so you pay the $595, the license fee, but then you're getting $900 a year. So it's an absolute no brainer. It doesn't cost you a dime to have this system in place. And those of you that want it, overnightsuccesstoolkit.com, you're going to put in the coupon code FIRST20. Now we have a lot more training to go through. But the bottom line that I want you to understand is that if you want to have all this and not have to reinvent the wheel, you can. Okay, you can. So I'm going to open it up for Q&A. You can see, if you could see this, this is the back of the book. Okay, this is one of my versions because you can have multiple versions of it. This is the back of the book. It's got all my sponsors in there and they cover the cost. So I'm going to open it up for questions of anything that we've covered so far. If you have any questions about this or anything else, because I want to get into this. How do I find listings? That's what we're going to talk about next. But before we do, I'm going to look in the chat and see if there's any questions that you guys have for me. Throw them in the chat. We're going to do questions for about 5 minutes, and then we're going to keep going. All right. So, yeah, somebody says Garcia says my picture would look great on that book. It's called an upgrade. When you take my picture off and you put your picture on, you just upgraded it, right? All right. So, can I go back one slide? Ooh, I probably messed up on that. Sorry, we didn't go back. Um, yeah, don't reinvent the wheel. There's really no reason to. When I came up with this system, it was one of those. So Garcia says, "Hey, don't reinvent the wheel." It's one of those things where I was like, I do want to, I got to license this because I can't just give it away because it is copywritten. But how can I do it in such a way where they don't have to pay for it? And that's what I did. I remember one time I was in Las Vegas. This guy gets up. I was doing the presentation. I was showing him how to get it for free. Man, he stormed out of class. I thought the guy was upset. He just left. He didn't say anything. He came back 10 minutes later. He said, "Man, Nolly, I made all my calls. I got my sponsors in place." And then he did it. So it was funny that he just went and made phone calls, and he was. Let me see. Oh, Ed says I've been using your book and have not sold the back to people. Yeah, he said the whole program materials have really helped me. Yeah, Ed Hildebrand. Yeah, so Ed already has the copyright license, and he's not even selling the back of it. Some people don't. Like look at this. This is John Lauer, and he doesn't. He puts his own. He just puts like about himself on the back. You don't have to sell the back because it's worth its weight in gold anyway. But for those that are like, they just want to have that extra push to not have to spend any money, then I just have that available. And at any point, if you decide to open up the back, Ed, and sell it, you can. I'm kind of like you, Ed. I've got a version where I just have my own information on the back as well. That's this version right here. And then I just have, just information about me and what I do to get home sold. But that's in the book too already, right? So, um, you could do it either way. Can the vendors go inside the book? That's a great question. So yes, they can. In fact, I've got a example of one here. I think let me see if I do have it. I don't know if I have it in front of me here, but I've had several people where what they would do is on the inside of the book itself, on the inside, not the back cover, but the inside of the book itself, and they would list all their preferred vendors there. Okay. And of course, you want to tell your clients, look, here's the preferred vendors that have partnered with me, but you're free to pick whoever you want. Okay. You can Google anybody else or whatever. And you can put that in writing if you don't want to feel like you're steering them to one person. But if you think about it, if you had a painter and you got that painter a job to paint a house, uh, they're probably gonna reward you with a dinner or something, right? And it's gonna be cost more than $100. I tell you that. You take me out to a nice steak dinner with a couple glasses of wine and maybe some hors d'oeuvres before, you're gonna spend more than $100, for that referral. And when you think about it, when you're at a listing and you're talking about your handyman, you're like, look, those broken doorknobs in the back room, this guy right here can fix those. And then I do recommend your carpets get cleaned. This is my carpet cleaner that I normally use. If you want to do a pre-inspection, this is the guy that we normally use. You can call anybody you want. Also, if you're thinking about moving, here's a moving service that we recommend here, right here on the back. And I do recommend that you get the house clean before we go on the market. That's one of the big things that I push for. You want to have it. You want to do some touch-up paint or some light painting. That bedroom in the back that's orange, I recommend we paint the whole thing. And my painter's right here. He can take care of that. but I do also recommend the house be clean, and here's my house cleaner. So it's a natural conversation that you're having with them as you're referring these people because there are things that they're going to want to do anyway with the property. So in other words, I tell my vendors, I say, hey, how would you like to go on every listing appointment with me? They're like, well, what? I can do that? Yeah, you can if you grab a spot on the back of my book. You can do it. All right. So who prints the book? So we have different printers that we'll recommend to you. Uh, the book is basically about $4. We used to be able to get them printed for $3. Okay. But now they're just about $4 a book. And get this, there's no minimum order. There's no minimum order. So you can print two, three, four. It's printing on demand is what it's called. Okay. But there's a lot of book printers. If you Google book printers, a lot of them are very expensive. We researched some of the best quality and the lowest cost, and we share that with you. Um, Let me see if there's any other questions because I want to move on to, so let's go ahead and put that in the chat, Paul, if you will. Overnightsuccesstoolkit.com along with that coupon code, and then that way we can just go ahead and move on. Uh, Somebody says you printing is good. Google Print on Demand. I haven't used them. I haven't used U Printing. The company that we like is a company called Lulu, Lulu.com, Lulu.com. Don't go there now. I don't like to tell people things because they start Googling it. We still got a lot more to learn. But Lulu is really good. Um, yeah, somebody posted Lulu. So let's put it in the chat. Once Paul puts that website in the chat, the overnightsuccesstoolkit.com, and the coupon code, I'm going to move on because I want to move on to I want to show you how to get more listings. That's going to be really, 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 um, really, really. What's up, Jason P? I see you. Appreciate you, brother. That's going to be real critical. So if there's any other questions, I think we got another minute for questions, and then we're going to get into we're going to get right into uh, just checking any messages I have on here on the outside. Okay. All right. Let's see. Garcia says this is great information. Great information so far. All right, Paul, put that URL in and then we'll keep going. If you need me to do it, let me know. So you guys write it down, overnightsuccesstoolkit.com. By the way, let me just show you, because this is going to be, Jason said 100% worth the investment if you are on the fence. I have Knolly's kit and use it on my seller book daily. Jason said he uses this daily. And hopefully you picked up, Jason, some ideas here that to where you can start. I mean, there's all kinds of scripts around using this that a lot of people forget about, I say. So let me just show you. When you go to the website, and I'm going to just copy this so I can paste it in the chat. But when you go to the website, you're going to click on this green button. It's going to say, yes, I want my book. And then let me share with you. Let me see if I'm sharing. Hold on a second. Uh, Hold on one second. Okay. So I want you to hear, so this is it. What you're going to do in here is when you get on this page, you're going to put in first 20 and you're going to hit apply. Okay. And then that's going to automatically take that. If the coupon is still available, once we get to 20 people, then it goes back to it's still worth $9.97, by the way. But let me let you hear this guy. There's so many testimonials that we have of people. And I mean, a lot of them, you can look these people up. They're real people. I mean, there's so many people that have had success with this. But let me show you this guy's testimonial here.
Hey Knolly, Joe Boudreaux, Keller Williams Realty Bayou Partners in South Louisiana. Wanted to shoot this video for you, man. We love the book. It's the best thing we've ever done. Let me show it to you. Sold, The Ultimate Guide to Selling Your Home by Joe and Lauren Boudreaux. My wife and I have a real estate team here, and we love it. Here's my sponsors on the back: closing attorneys, mortgage companies, inspection, all that good stuff. We absolutely love it. We are using it. We're dropping it off to for sale by owners. We've got a script. We're giving it out to everybody and anybody. Every day I'm mailing copies out to people. It is so amazing. So thank you so much to anybody out there that's thinking of doing it. Do it. We got our cover designed by a local guy, and then I got it proofread by a college professor. Just charged me a couple of bucks to actually proofread it, make sure all the punctuation's there, because here we have parishes and not counties, so we had to do a few things that are a little bit different. But thanks again for it. We love it. It's brought us so many listings, worth every penny. Have a blessed day.
Yeah, so I'm telling you, I mean, we've and I know there's those of you that are using it can attest the same thing. We've had and there is a money back guarantee. If you don't love it, we refund you. If you decide that you're not going to use it after a certain amount of time, then you cancel your the annual license. You can cancel that anytime. But the truth is nobody does because it just works. And it's one of those things that when it's just overwhelming to a seller when they see what you have, your whole package. I go a little one step further and I do like I have my folder that opens up, for my pre-listing stuff like that. But I mean, you don't have to do all that. I just do because I'm a marketer. But there's so much more to learn, and I know we got to keep going. So, um, see if did Paul put that in? Yeah, Paul. I see you put it in here, Paul. Let me see. It'd help if I put my glasses on. Let me see. Thank you, Paul. I see it. Yeah, just use I'll throw the coupon code in. Coupon code is first 20 because I want you guys to get that discount. All right, let's keep going on the training. If you have any questions, throw them in. We're almost. Can you believe we're an hour and a half in already? Um, let what I want to do now is I want to talk a little bit about how to get listings. How do you find these listings anyway? Because this is a big question that I have, and I have lots and lots and lots and lots of training on this. So we don't have to belabor it. We won't even spend that much time here. But the big thing that I want you to understand is that you want to focus on the three lead buckets. Okay, the three lead buckets that I teach, and those are sphere of influence, farm, and niche. If you will focus on just those three buckets, you will absolutely be wealthy. You'll be leading in the listing game. Okay. Just focus on those three buckets. So your sphere of influence is very simple. You're going to use the KISS method that I teach. No, not keep it simple, stupid. Okay. Keep it super simple. That is what I like. Keep it super or keep it simple, sweetheart. Okay. So that's a monthly newsletter that you send out. You're going to do a quarterly mailing. It's going to be a postcard, and you're going to do a semi-annual call to your top 200. Now I'm going to show you how to actually send your postcards out for free, as well as your farming postcards for free. I'm going to show you that in a minute. So this particular plan doesn't cost you anything. Okay. So I'm going to show you how to get the postcards for free. And the calls to your top 200, if you did that even twice a year, you'd be ahead of 90% of agents. Even if you reached out twice a year to your top 200 people, and all that looks like is about 3 to 4 calls a day. That's it. 3 to 4 calls a day. Your e-newsletter is something that you could put together. We used to have a system that would automatically send it out. We're working on relaunching that, but it's not that hard to put together, and it's worth it. You're basically staying in contact with your sphere of influence. This is 18 times a year. That's every 3 weeks. Now, some people teach that you should be in touch with them even more often, but the point is that most agents don't stay in touch with them at all. And even if you just did an 18 touch, that's every 3 weeks. You think they're ever going to forget about you? They won't. So they're going to remember who you are, and they're going to remember what you do. Now, your farm, let's talk about geographic farming. So there's a lot that goes into farming, and I have whole trainings. I have hours of training just on farming, on geo farming. But one of the things that a lot of times people think, oh, I sent out the postcards and it didn't work. I didn't get any business. Well, you want to think of your farm as like you're running for mayor. Okay. What does that look like? So you might have a YouTube channel, you might have a Facebook page, you might be visible on the local Facebook page. You might be that woman about town that you're interviewing all the new restaurants and the new businesses that come in town, and they're putting that on your local YouTube channel. Maybe you are sending out postcards, you're sending letters, you're showing up at different events, and the whole key of it is that it's like you're running for mayor. When somebody's running for mayor, they don't just send out postcards and hope they get elected. So what does it really look like? You're doing open houses, but instead of open houses, you're doing events like a wine tasting, or you're doing, these things that don't cost you any money at all. For example, let's say you had a nice property that you want to do an open house with, but guess what? You're going to do a twist where you only invite the neighbors. Okay. So now you make it a happy hour. It's like, hey, this is a neighborhood happy hour only. It's not open to the public. It's just for the neighbors. And we're going to go for 2 hours. We're going to have wine tasting. Now, where's the wine tasting coming from? Well, you find a place that was willing to sponsor, or maybe you have a lender that will sponsor the wine. Okay. And they'll come in with 6 bottles or whatever they bring. And I don't know what kind of neighborhood you live in, but it might need more than 6 bottles, whatever it is, whatever. So now you're going out and you're inviting people to the happy hour or the wine tasting. You go to the local Chinese restaurant and say, look, we need some food for this event. And what we want is a big pan. We want you to donate, Donate. Yeah, I said it. We want you to donate a pan of your best dish, and we're going to sample it there. We're going to tell people it's sponsored by you. All the neighbors are going to get to taste your food. And we also want 20 buy one, get one free coupons to your Chinese restaurant. Okay. We're going to promote your restaurant at this event. Would that be okay with you? That neighborhood with the $600,000 homes. Okay, great. It's right around the corner. And now you have 20 buy one, get one free coupons. And then when you go around to the neighborhood, you're like, hey, the first 20 people that get there are going to get a free meal. Okay, right? And you're passing out the buy one, get one free coupon. You're getting a lot of people there. They're all neighbors. They kind of know each other. They're getting to meet. They don't want to leave. And they all get to meet you. And they're like, man, this girl puts on some nice events. How can you want an event at your house? All you got to do is hire me whenever you're ready. Oh, you thinking about selling? Let's meet next Tuesday, or would Thursday be better? Okay. So you're having these events around those listings that warrant them. Okay. You're not paying $1 out of your pocket for that. Okay. Now let's talk about postcards, how to get your postcards for free. You're going to use Every Door Direct Mail, EDDM, Every Door Direct Mail. And it's about 25 cents a house. And you're going to, let's say that farm was, 400 homes. Okay. At 25 cents each. How much is that going to cost you? $100, right? So now you've got $100 in postage using Every Door Direct Mail, and you get them printed at GotPrint, GOTPRINT.com, GotPrint.com. And let's say it costs you $50 to get them printed. So let's just use $200 as a number for printing and mailing, all turnkey. And now you have 4 people that are on the back of your postcard. It could be a landscaper, maybe someone a painter. It could be a plumber. I just had a plumber out of my house, and let's say a roofer or a house cleaning company. Okay, and each of those 4 people, you say, look, I'm going to be, sending a mailer out to this neighborhood. Yeah, this neighborhood. 500 homes, and if you want to be on it, it's $50. Okay. I'll put the whole thing together. You'll be on the back. You'll have whatever kind of special you want to offer. I'll be on the front. You'll be on the back. And then, so 4 of them agree. You raise $200. It cost you $200. Didn't cost you a dime out of pocket to farm. None of the strategies that I teach cost money. Okay. It's called low to no cost. So you should be farming. And this is going to be another way that you're going to get listings coming up in 2026. Okay. And the third way you're going to do it is you got to specialize. You got to niche to get rich. You've got to pick a specialty. All right. If you haven't already, you have to. Now, that's not going to be everything you do. It's just going to be a division of your business. Okay. So it could be, I see short sales coming back. I've got three of them going right now, but it could be, golf course communities, homes on the lake. It could be luxury. It could be probate. It could be divorce. I mean, in this market, I tell people, pick something that people, they have to sell. They really have to sell because there's three kind of sellers: those that want to sell, those that need to sell, and those that have to sell. And if you can pick a good niche and start dominating in that niche, then you can make a lot of money in working with listings, and you could be the sought out person. I've got a friend of mine he sells homes on one or more acre. That's his specialty, you know, and it works out very well for him. So let's say you wanted 6 to 10, because people ask me all the time, how did you get 6 to 10 listings or 10 listings? I actually got 10 listings. My last year in production, I did 153 listings or closings, I should say. Probably maybe 10% of those were buyers by default. But this is how I did it. I would, if that month I took 6 listings, it would be 3 from my SOI, 2 from my farm, 1 from my niche. Or if I took 10 listings, it was 5 from the SOI, 3 from my farm, and 2 from my niche. Okay. Now I get that these numbers are, some people are like, man, if I could just get 1 or 2 or 3 listings a month, that'd be great. And I get that. Okay. So I want you to, there's so much more that we could say about this. Let me make sure I want to make sure my computer doesn't, I got my computer on propped up on this little thing and it started wobbling. But yeah, there's so much more that I could teach you guys on this, but I've got tons and tons and tons. In fact, I have a whole vault of training, and I'm going to show you. I told you I would show you at the beginning how to get all of my training for free, for for no cost to you. And I'm going to show you that now because there's just so much more to learn. I mean, look at it. We've been here almost 2 hours. Okay. And I can go on and on and on. One time we did I have a 5-week crash course. I've got an 8-week course in there. I've got just on lead generation. I've got a training course that's 15 hours just on what we covered in 15 minutes. Okay. So you can go as deep as you want with it. Even if it could take a year of intense study. And actually, that's what I have. I have a 1-year curriculum, really to learn all the secrets of the mega listing agents, the things that they don't want you to know about. Who's they? You know who they are. I remember when I first joined a brokerage and they wouldn't teach me anything. It was just like, if I was going to succeed, I was going to succeed. If I wasn't, I wasn't. And there are some brokerages that do a lot of training. Okay. But I found out, and this is God's honest truth, the brokerage that I was with was one of the top in the city, and the biggest trainer there did 5 deals a year. The biggest trainer there did 5 deals a year. Nothing wrong with that if that's what you want to do. But I want to learn. People want to learn from those who have done what they want to do. Period. Okay. So if you finally want to escape that feast or famine, what would 2 or 3 additional listings a month do for your family? Think about that for a minute. Just 2 or 3, maybe an extra, 20,000, 30,000, depends on the average sale price. But what could that do for your family if that was consistently happening for you? So you do need the right tools, but you also need the right training. And I learned this the hard way. Okay. You got to be trained correctly. And that's why I created my Success with Listings 1-year training course. Okay. And that is something that I have donated to our 501c3 nonprofit. Okay. So that you can learn the mega agent listing secrets, the skills, the things that are hard to learn. And you don't want to learn by trial and error because it takes too long. Okay. It's a $5,985 value all day long, but now you get it free with a tax deductible donation. So for those of you that want to support what I'm doing, and I'll show you actually where the money goes. I have this 501c3. I am a volunteer. I don't get paid for this, but it's what God called me to do, and I'm doing it. We have the 12-week course that I told you about, lead generation secrets, in there. We've got my Success with Listings crash course, which has been a big hit. That's actually a 5-week training. We've got my 4 hours a day. 4 hours, 3 hours a day, 4-day boot camp, which is was phenomenal. I mean, it's so good. And we actually did that with a live class over a period of 6 weeks, in fact, but you can do it in 4 days. And it's got workbooks and training and all that. We even have one called Discovering Your Divine Destiny, because a lot of us as agents don't really know what our true destiny is, and how we can use real estate as sort of a gateway to what God has put us here for. So there's all this training plus a ton more in that complete portal. So it's 150 hours of training, a full training library vault. It's a 1 year curriculum. It's got the 12-week masterclass for lead gen secrets, my success with listings 5-week crash course, 3 hours a day, 4-day boot camp, discovering your divine destiny 8-week masterclass, and a bunch more in there is what it has. And here's what it is. So when you decide that you want to partner with me, you want to help other people just like you, you want to help reduce the failure rate in this industry like I do. Here's what it funds. So we've got a weekly podcast. I've got a weekly radio show, Success with Listings podcast, Success with Listings radio show. We do that every week. I've got monthly training events. When I go out and do my events, we do them for free, and we don't charge anything. If there is anything that we make available, we do it through the nonprofit, or we figure out a way where you can get reimbursed for it, so it doesn't cost you any money out of pocket. I have outreach programs. We've got books, tools, resources, and it's all nonprofits, 501c3. We have a few people that work at the ministry. And so if you love what I'm doing, if you want to support it, if you feel like, man, Knolly's onto something, then I encourage you to become a donor. I'm giving you the opportunity to become a donor. And in return, I'm basically unlocking this 1 year success with listings curriculum, which basically I do charge for. I have a place where you can buy it, you can pay for it. But if you don't want to pay and you want to do this, you want to help me raise funds, what I want to do today, let's see if we can do it. If we can raise $600, okay? So for those who donate, you go to Life Unlimited Academy, and we're actually going to monitor this. I'm going to look. We've got 8 more minutes to be on the call, and I'm going to take your questions and everything, but let's go to Life Unlimited Academy. If God put it on your heart, we're doing the fundraiser right now, okay? And I'm actually going to monitor, as these donations start to come in, and I'm going to be thanking you for that. So a lot of times people ask me, what's the difference? Well, for those of you that want all the tools, that's the Overnight Success Toolkit, okay? But if you want all the training, the full 1 year curriculum, that's what the fundraise is about, okay? So there's tools and there's training. You got to have the right tools in your business to succeed at the high level, but you also have to have the right training as well. So I want to see, as we're doing this, I'm going to take questions from you guys, and I'm going to open the chat back up. I saw a few hands raised. And I want you to also tell me, what are some of your key takeaways from this while you're donating? Okay, go to Life Unlimited Academy and put in your donation. What are some of your key takeaways? What are some of the things that you're going to start utilizing in 2026 to have a phenomenal listing career? Thanks, Paul, for throwing that in the chat. So Gladys says this is brilliant marketing. Yeah, I mean, hopefully. Sham says I want the 3 lead buckets. I'm gonna start implementing that. Okay, cool, great. I love it. How many pages is the book? Okay, so Paul said the book is 470 pages. The book is actually 80 pages long. So it depends on what book you're talking about. The book that we're talking about for your sellers I've got a lot of books, is 80 pages. Okay, so it's not 470 pages. I don't want you to think, oh, it's 470 pages. No. You want that book to be as short as possible, because if you send somebody to a chapter, you want them to be able to read that chapter in a few minutes. 6, 7 pages. People don't like reading books. Most people don't like to read books. And the point is, because people ask me all the time, do people even read your book? I don't care, because they still hire me. They have it, right? They're like, man, I don't even know that. I don't look, stop selling, Nolly, stop selling. We already got your book. We know you. And some of them I know they haven't read it. Okay. But when I need them to read it, I tell them, hey, go read chapter 6 because you have a lot of questions around this. Go ahead and read that chapter and then call me back with any questions you have. Okay. So the book is 80 pages. Great question. All right. So, how do we qualify for the 1 year training? So all you're going to do is you're going to go to lifeunlimitedacademy.com, or you can hit that QR code. And I'm actually going to go there right now. Let me, let me, so you're going to go to Life Unlimited Academy. It's going to take you right here. Oh, we already got $100 raised. Look at that, guys. We've already raised $100. Oh, James Breedlove, thank you, brother. That is such a generous donation. I'm going to love that right now. So now we're at 120, guys. In fact, let me do this. I'm going to go to live display. This is so good. And while we're doing this, if you guys have any questions for me, you can feel free. So right now we've got Parker Smith. Thank you. That was a $20 donation. I love you. I appreciate you. James Breedlove, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much. We are on the way to raising $600. This is an ongoing donation, but you can cancel if you get to a point where you're like, Nolly, I can't afford to donate anymore. That's fine. Just can't. It's so easy to manage your donation if you can't. But I know that there's some of you that God has put it on your heart to help me in this crusade to help others, and particularly. I do help business owners and entrepreneurs, but particularly I love helping real estate agents because we have a lot of stuff to figure out, don't we? We really do. And so, just scan that QR code, or you can go to what was my? Hold on, let me tell you where to go because I have a different URL. Here it is. You can go to Life Unlimited Academy. Life Unlimited Academy. And we'll come back to it. We'll come back to it and we'll look. In the meantime, what questions do you have for me? Throw them in the chat. Any questions that you have before we go on to do whatever the stuff we're going to do before Christmas, or any ahas that you want to share. Okay, that's a great question. So Gladys is asking, what if hold on, let me throw this back up because nope, not that. Hold on. So Gladys says, hey, what if I don't have an SOI? What if I don't even have an SOI? So this can happen, Gladys, if you've just moved to an area, maybe you're new to the area and you haven't, and this happened to me when I first got my license. I was brand new. My wife and I ended up moving to South Texas from Austin. We didn't last there very long, but I started my real estate practice there and I really didn't know anybody personally. We did have family there, but none of them were buying houses. When you have that kind of family, you're like, you got like none of them are buying houses right now. They're all renting, right? And so what I did was, how Gladys, I told you that you want to work your SOI, then your farm, and then your niche. Start with your SOI, then your farm, then your niche. Well, if you don't have an SOI, you're going to work it in reverse. Okay, write that down. I'm going to work it in reverse. So you're going to start with your niche. You're going to pick a good niche, start that. Then you're going to start farming. And then from that, you're going to build an SOI. By the way, Gladys, what would happen? Just think about this for a minute. I want you to process this. What would happen if you went out and met 2 people a day in 2026? How big would your database be by this time next year if you went and met 2 people a day? I'll do the math. Just take a calculator and let's say you take a few days off, 300 times 2, you'd have 600 people in your database by this time next year. So there really is no excuse to not, to not have a database. Okay. But if you're new to a place, I get it. Okay. But that's a great question, by the way. Parker said the toolkit is going to be a big boost for us this year. We've already done 2+ years of farming, and I think this will put us over the top for a gangbusters 2026. That's absolutely right, Parker. You'll see it. And I want to hear your testimonial, brother. I can use the word testimonial with you, but I want to hear that when it comes through. All right, let's see where we are, Paul, on the fundraise. Are we stuck? Let's see where we are. Oh, we're stuck at 120. So we are almost at the end. You guys can keep, go to uh this is something that, and I know a lot of you are givers. I know a lot of you have it in your heart to help others. This is something that I'm dedicated to doing. I want you to partner with me on this. So that's why, I'm giving you this opportunity to do it. Life Unlimited Academy.com. Once you put in your donation, you're going to get an email that's going to give you all the information on how to access the curriculum. Okay, so we're at 120, but I know, because we got a lot of people on the call that we're going to hit our target. All right. Any last question before we convene? Is there anything else that you guys have a question for Uncle Nolly? While you throw it in the chat, I want to talk to you about what did we learn today. Okay. So we learned that why listings are the best opportunity in real estate right now. They really are. In 2026, it's going to even be better. Okay. Why you should transition your core business to listings, how to win the listing before you ever meet with the seller. That's with your toolkit, with all your tools. How to earn more money and work less. We learned that. And how to get all of the success tools that I use to help me take over 100 listings a year for more than 10 years in a row, how you can get those absolutely for free, no cost to you, with overnightsuccesstoolkit.com. Okay, with coupon code FIRST20. I'm gonna stay on for like maybe 5 more minutes, but if you have to jump off, God bless you. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year to you. Okay. I love you. I wish you success with listings. I'm gonna stay on 5 more minutes for anybody that has a final question or just something tugging at your heart and you've been like, I have a sense that I should stay on a little longer for somebody that's been kind of on the fence of asking a question so I can help you. So if you do have a question, throw it in the chat. There is a question bar, but I'm not even using that. So yeah, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Thank you, James. Appreciate that. Thank you, brother. God bless you for your donation. Thank you so much. Parker says, Merry Christmas to everybody. Let's see. I'm gonna go on for 3 more minutes, and then I know you guys got places to go. Some of y'all need to go take a potty break, and that's okay too. All right, let me go. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Merry Christmas. Sometimes people just hang out to hear me say something profound. I don't know if that's going to happen. John May, thank you, Nolly. I just purchased a toolkit. God bless you, brother. Thank you. Thank you. That's going to help you a lot. Patricia says, Nolly, is your phone number still the same? Yes, it is. Still the same. So if you have trouble, Paul, throw our number in the chat. Throw our phone number in the chat so she'll have that. Oh, we got another contributor. Teresa just gave $20. Thank you, Teresa. God bless you for that. I'm telling you, it goes a long way to helping. Let me see. Merry Christmas, everyone. Uh, as a newly in summary, step one is to set up the success toolkit. Yeah. If you're brand new, this is a great question, by the way. And because a lot of people wait, this is Alita. So a lot of people, Alita, they wait until they've had some measure of success. But I say no, don't do it that way. Okay. You want to come out of the gate showing the success. You want to give people a reason to hire you. When I first got in the business and I got my business cards, the first thing that I did was I said, okay, what title am I going to use? I see a lot of new agents put realtor, they put, real estate advisor, whatever they put. And I said, you know what? On my business card, I'm going to put listing specialist from day one. That's what I did. And when I would show up, they'd see my card, they'd see my materials, And they never asked me how long I'd been in the business. And I didn't volunteer the information, you know. They just assumed by looking at everything that like, man, and see, the reality is, Alita, you and I know that the house is what sells the house. Let me say it again. The house is what sells the house. We as agents help facilitate the transaction, but the house sells the house. And so if you get the listing and they have it set up correctly, they stage it right, and it looks good, all the stuff that I teach you, it's going to sell and you're going to get a commission. So yes, set up all your materials is what I did. You set it up first, set yourself up for success, and then you start building your SOI. You start deciding what your farm's going to be, and then you put your niche together. Now, you don't have to do all three of those at once. Let me clarify that. I didn't clarify. You start with your SOI. Once you're kind of been rocking with that for a few months, then you add in the farm. And then you start adding the S. It might take you 6 months to pick a good niche, and that's okay. You don't have to do all this at once. Okay. But by the end of a year, especially if you go through the academy, you're going to see that you got all you like this is like second nature to you. You're going to be working less and making more. Let me see if yeah, Elena said, "You're welcome, sir. Thank you for sharing so much. Merry Christmas." All right. So with that, yeah, Paul put our phone number here. That's it. Let me just one last time. I'm going to go and check and see. Oh, we're at 140, y'all. I know we can hit the number. If you're watching this afterward and you're watching, say, the replay, because we're gonna have the replay available for a limited time, then guess what? You too can still jump in and get in on the fundraiser. We're looking to raise 600 bucks, and I know we're gonna do it. Hey, I love you. I appreciate you. I want you to have success with listings, and I will see you again in the new year. Adios. All right, Marcia, reach out. I see you.